Hello again, and welcome to the tutorial on exporting images with Keyword Perfect. Today we are going to show you how to export your images to tab files as well as embedded IPTC data for multiple image types. So we're going to launch Keyword Perfect. As you can see, I've been working in it already. I'm actually at the point just after processing where you now have the option to either do the checker, which is explained in tutorial number 11, or the export IPTC, direct embed, or export to a tab file. So right now I have a set of JPEG images, 21 JPEG images that have been keyworded and processed, and I'm going to show you the different ways that you'll be able to get this keyword information to be useful for you. So if we export first to a tab file, you'll see that it asks you where you'd like to save. Let's make this a little bit easier to see. Okay, we will put this in the folder I made. Here we go. And we'll call this JPEG test. Okay, so we're saving this as a tab separated text. You can also do comma separated and a couple other ones, but these are probably the most common you'd want to use. So I'll save this and we're done really quick. So now if you want to take a look at that really fast, see what it looks like, we can go into the tab files here, and I'm going to drag this into TextMate, but you can open it also in TextEdit. So you can see here a huge amount of keyword information has been delivered simply from these few image keywords that we have here. Each one of these has just a couple of keywords, and now you have this really fleshed out list for each image, which is kind of broken up at one of these blocks. You can see here image number, image number. Actually, maybe you can't. There we go. Image number, image number. So now we're back to keywording. And also you have the option with JPEGs to embed directly into the IPTC file. So if you want to do that, you can hit export again and export to IPTC fields. So now this will go through and process really quickly each image and embed all of these keywords into the actual file. I'm going to do an IPTC export for a few more file types, and then we'll look at what happened to the files after we're done. So I'm going to pause this for just a sec and set up an export for TIFF, and then do the same with an export for RAW, and then we'll view all of them in Aperture and Bridge to see how we have improved our keywording setup. Alright, so we're back, and you can see now I've processed some TIFFs. We have a new batch name, and the width and height information is missing, as would be the case for TIFFs. So we're going to export this to the IPTC fields of the TIFF file instead of creating a tab file. What this will do is actually place the information into XMP sidecar files for the TIFFs. So this processes for a minute, and we're done. Okay, so now I'm going to do this one more time for the raw files, and then we'll be right back. Alright, we're back again, and you can see now we have a raw set. We have our image width and height information back, and I'm going to export this to IPTC as well, which in the case of a raw file also means placing the information into a sidecar file. So I'm going to export, and almost done. Done. Okay, so now if we look in the Finder at the files we just created, you can see with the RAWs that there's XMP sidecar files. With the TIFFs, there are XMP sidecar files. And for the JPEGs, we just have the JPEGs. So if I open one of these up real quick in preview, you can see that we now have a big list of keywords that goes on and on and on. Can't really see them all, but just to give you an idea. Oh, and while we're at it, this list of file types that was mentioned in the import video, you won't be able to export directly to the file for most of these. You'll have to create sidecar files, but just so you keep that in mind for next time. Okay, so going back now, we can look in Bridge. If we go to these JPEGs, you can see that there's quite the list here of keywords that we've created. Same with these, quite the list, as well as in Aperture. In Aperture, though, I was going to show you real quickly, this is the before, no keywords on the original images that I was using to create the files that we worked with. And now we have this after folder, which is empty right now. But if we go into the Finder and we click on our JPEGs, our TIFFs, and our RAWs, and we bring them into this project, you can see that as these get added, let's look at just the JPEGs first. Here the metadata all shows up, and this metadata is similar to what we saw in our IPTC file. To people affection, to people affection. I think that's enough of that. You get the idea. So that's a lot better when you have the ability to put them directly into the file, but when necessary it's good to know that you can create a tab file that contains all of the same information. So now if we go back and we take a look at our raw files, you'll see the same thing. Even though we had the XMP files and the XMP files aren't sitting here in our gallery, Aperture is smart enough to pull those keywords in and put them in with the TIFFs. So later you'll also be able to export TIFFs that don't have sidecar files, that do have the IPTC data embedded, as Aperture is able to do that. Same goes for Lightroom. And now if we go to the TIFF files, same thing. Keywords are brought in, there's no messy XMP files lying around, and if you'd like to, you can export different types of files that will have the keyword data embedded in your file. For a more in-depth look of how that works, we're going to create another tutorial that you'll be able to view later on that also shows you how to copy keywords from JPEGs to TIFFs to RAWs in case if you were working in the field with smaller files and were trying to save space or time. But for now, that's it for exporting. Thank you for watching this video. We look forward to seeing you again soon.